Yeah, I'm back at home pace. Found a little bit of food and some toiletries that I needed. You don't realize how much you don't really need toothpaste all that hard until your teeth start hurting. And the post-apocalypse here, man. I'd love to find a dentist somewhere. Okay, a little bit of levity before I start this one. In all honesty, I didn't know if I wanted to include this part of the story of how this happened. It's been a year and it still hurts, but if I'm trying to record my story and what happened during the end times here, I have to include it. So, making my way downtown, moving fast now. Man, am I trying to avoid this. So, I had gone 2 blocks, and I can't say it was stolen cop car, it was abandoned cop car. After all the horribleness that had happened, I had Hal and his family going north and whatever, and there were still fires going around, and I could see smoldering coming from this little trailer park. Now, my friend, ex-lover, and then, friend, had been living there with her family. So as soon as I saw it, even, before all this, we hadn't been together in decades. But still, when I drove past here, I'd always look over at her place and go, oh shit, there's her place, Hope she's doing okay, that kind of stuff. We were friends for 8 years, and then we dated for like 4, 5, somewhere in there. And then we were friends again, and she got with this new husband guy, and he did not like me. So, but yeah, she was one of these people that, the high school sweethearts. We dated in high school, and we're supposed to go all together. We planned and doing all this kind of stuff, and she was the reason I couldn't really go into the holiday sections at the big box stores like Walmart and shit, because when we'd go out, we'd go catch dinner or movie. That was our favorite thing to do. But we'd wait for a movie, so we just go walk around retail shops or down through the mall or whatever. But during the holidays, man, we'd sit around and plan our house and what the house would look like and how we'd decorate it and what we'd do with it, and and then kids and how they're supposed to do this and whatever. And we split up. We were still friendly and stuff, but every time I went through there, man, I did that. Anytime I was with another partner, that never really came up. That wasn't an option. It wasn't just a thing. It's not that we didn't look for a future. It's just I had no faith in it anymore, So when I pulled up and I saw the smoke pouring out of this little trailer park thing, dude, I slid that little fucking cop car in there, jumped out. Well, she was in the second one from the road, and it had already burned down to just the frame. There was nothing there. The fire itself was like 3 trailers down from that. So the one by the road was just smoldering ash. Hers was barely any structure. The trailer doesn't have much when it burns. There's some metal frame, but all the pressed wood, plywood, and cheap cardboard bullshit that they use as carpet goes up, right? So it had burned down as like the metal frame was there, the axles were there, the tires had burned away, and there's like little pieces of this, that, and the other. All the old school asbestos in these small town fucking trailers from the 40s didn't burn, so there's bits and pieces that looked like smoldering plywood laying around, and I was like, holy shit, I was like, hopefully she got out, man. She had a bunch of kids and shit, and like, hopefully her old man got her out or whatever. And so I'm just kicking around, got my shotgun in one hand, and I get out, and I'm not yelling, like there's still fire stuff, but I don't hear anybody else talking or anything. It's just fire and breeze, and there's some dark clouds that are trying to creep in over the top of me. Like this, I don't know if that's just my mood or personality or just foreboding, But I got back to the furthest corner away from the road, and I'm guessing it was a bedroom, closet, whatever, but I saw a form of a person in the ashes and the smoldering and the horribleness. I tromped across what I could. I'm still in my big search and rescue boots, And I throw this big plant. It looked like sheetrock, but it was heavier. It could have been like green rock or something. Kicked to the side, and there was the form of a person and of my friend. this isn't the first time I've come across a body, right? And it's not the first time I come across a body of a friend. I've found a friend of mine when he had a heart attack a few years before, and then helped during the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, and go to a lot of funerals and stuff, doing the chaplain thing, right? So it's not a thing, but it's the first one I've seen since all this has happened. Like, I shot a guy, I killed a guy. I've seen a lot of bodies. I've watched people get executed, but they were people. They weren't people I knew. You know, not knew well or intimately like this. Her hair was gone. Her skin was blistered. You know, she was covered from the waist down. There was still a pile of whatever rubble and bullshit this was. I guess it was just clothing and like a suitcase or some shit. It just kind of piled on her lower body. I don't know that her skin was black and her hair was gone. Like, it was rough. I wanted to help my friend, and there was nothing I could do. I've never felt so hopeless in my life. Useless. You know, my entire life it's always been, you know, something needs to get done. Let's do it. Pick it up. It's that very much male thing. Oh, there's a problem. We have to fix it. Kind of stuff. You know, stand up, pick it up, move it, punch that person. You know, fix something. This is just something that I couldn't make better. And you know, the world changing and everything sucking and all this going on. You know, it gets driven home easily. Just, you know, I cried 2 nights before because I lost all my fucking collectibles and stuff. This hit me like a ton of bricks. Like it just sat on me. Like it felt like it drove the wind out of me. And then it did. It kind of pushed me down to, you know, to a crouch, almost to one knee. I put my hand on her shoulder. It's still warm, but then it was the fire, you know. And I cried a little bit. And when I did, that body started moving. It wiggled a bit. And I was like, what the hell? So I had to try to roll her over, and she was even more horrifically burned on the other side. And I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And then I heard a growl. So I started kicking the rubble itch off her body, and there was a dog chewing on her leg. Her foot was gone, and he was pulling on her flesh. I just knee-jerk reaction, pulled up my shotgun, yelled at it. I jumped back, but you know, this is a dog. That's his meal. He doesn't know any better. It's not my friend. It's not my lover. It's not my high school sweetheart this some bitch is chewing on. I can't do this. You know, you can't just hurt him for following his instincts. So I yelled, tried to shoo him off. He fought and growled. But when I yelled, I heard voices from further into the trailer park. Deep, accented, you know, very southern, what in the hell is going on? Who the fuck's over there? And then I heard a couple weapons chamber, you know. I wanted to take my rifle and bury her, keep her away from getting eaten by this fucking dog, but I didn't want to get shot in the face, so do I stay and defend a dead body from fucking ruthless ass hillbillies that might have caused the fire? And the fucking dog that's just being hungry and shit, and get shot myself and just add to the fire, or I get the fuck out of there. So, call me a coward if you have to. I left. I did, like, I'm gonna come back and try to fix this, but I'm not getting shot over it, you know. I wanna take my friend, but I couldn't do it, so, ran, jumped in the car, and I left. I lied to myself about coming back and doing that. And I'll have to revisit when I went back, but this is harder than I thought. Alright, so, yeah, that was a little heavy. I had to sit for a minute, but let's get back into it. So, I'm scrambling to get away from there. I hear a couple of shots. I don't hear anything whiz past me, but I jump in the cop car, gun it, and, you know, a quarter mile up the road, I get to Highway 6, right across Highway 6 where I need to keep going. there's the railroad tracks, and there's a train parked. I can't see the end of it either way, but this image is just sitting. I don't know how long it's been there. There's a couple of cars that look abandoned to either side of the drive up the way to the crossing, but it's just not there, so I can't go straight across. So I go to, instinct. You just look left and right. And I see some red cars, and I see some people down in the distance, but I don't see anything close. But before I can turn, I hear a ping noise, coming from the dash. I look down, and son of a bitch, cop car's just about out of fuel. Like, this guy either had to drive or just wasn't paying attention, because that was always one of the rules, man. Like, you had to keep at least half a tank of fuel in there, just in case something happened. So, I guess all the norms are just out the window, so I start looking around. And there's a gas station right there where the old Busy Bee used to be, and it's dark, it's smashed. I was like, well, if there's no power, then there's no way to pump that fuel from there. And I see somebody step out from behind the liquor store down there on the right, and they go to yelling. It looks like they got something in their hand. It looks like weapons. So I was like, yeah. So I just peeled off to the right and took off down 6. And man, like I said, it looks like they made it into the set of a movie, dude. Like there's stuff smashed, some buildings are burned, everything's got a water line on it where the flood had come through. Occasionally you'd see somebody kind of poking out or, sticking around and leveling a rifle at you from behind the bar down there on the left-hand side, the old driftwood lounge or whatever. Hell, it's not friendly at all. This town was relatively rough on people before. It was a little racist sundown town back in the day anyway. So I got it, and I can see to the left there's the train. It's just running down the tracks. It just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And further up the road, I can see where the school is, and the Warpath Avenue down there where I went to high school. And there's sure enough a fire over yonder somewhere. Like one of those schools got lit up, so somebody got fed up with the administration, I guess, or just the administration got fed up and took it out on it. So I was like, what in the hell? Well, I know there's a crossing right there by the school, and then further down is over by the park, and that's kind of bad hoodoo anyway. But I'm dodging these cars. They're kind of burned out, broken down here and there. And the train's just running down the left-hand side. There's a little turn-off right there next to the old pizza joint. And it's covered by a train. You can't get to it. But then you look on the other side, it looks like there's a car running smack dab into the damn thing from the far side. So I just kept booking it down there, man, hoping this fuel's going to hold out. I got the Warpath is down there. There's the old junior high. It's just off blaze. Looks like some people out in front, like they dancing. It was always the Santa Fe Indians. So, you reckon they'd be down there, being racially stereotypical towards the natives and dancing around and being idiots. But I didn't want to risk going that way. But I couldn't turn there. The little gas station right there, just all but blown up. It's burnt. The building is just barely there. Like, I wouldn't trust that fuel anyway. Probably still be on fire. So I got it down. I passed another gas station, another intersection, and it's just the same, just more piled up cars. But this one had 1764, where it run into 6 right there. There's a bunch of cars piled up. I say bunch, there's 4 or 5 of them. But I could see, even with the clouds coming over the top of it, dark and everything, you can see the brass glittering on the ground around it. It's like somebody got into a gunfight right here. So I goose that car a little bit, and it kind of staggers. I was like, it's not going to make it very far. So then I look over, the train has given up. It has stopped. There's no more train on the track. So the next intersection up here, the one that's over by the park where I really didn't want to go, I've had some bad interactions over there. It's going to be clear, or should be. So I turn the gas station there, the old Amigo Mart. I don't know what the hell they call it now, but right there by the feed store, man. So I hook a left, get over that berm in a hurry, and it bounces them cop shocks up and out. There's just no cars there. It seems to be the only clean place. But if all the hillbillies on the bad side of the tracks over here where I grew up wanted to make a pinch point or a gateway to get in, this would be perfect for it. And it crossed my mind. I was like, ooh, shit. It did do me good that the old the meeting house that was there on the left, Webb, something or other. We'd use it for different stuff, but back in the day, it got in trouble because they were still renting it out to the damn KKK, and it had burned to the ground, so I can only dream that it was a mishap of a cross got loose and burned the place down, sons of bitches. But it was right about there when that car just gave up. Cluck, 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 cluck. That engine just was out of fuel. I pulled over next to where this old house used to be, and some bitch was always seemed to be kind of haunted and spooky, like an old Victorian house, and it's right there by the train tracks. Just son of a gun. And I pulled up next to it, and I could see where the old thrift store there was across the way, the one the church run, and in the parking lot was a couple of cars. They looked like they'd been there for a while. I pulled that damn cop car over there, man, got it shut down. Stopped, didn't even need to turn it off, Did get out and realize that on the bubblegum machine, the lights were across the top. The one on the far end all the rest of them I had turned off, but one was just down there by itself, just spinning. Just flashy light just on one side. No wonder everybody kind of looked at me funny. Couldn't see it during the daytime, but if you look up, you see that one little blue light circling. Looked like it was a Kmart detective running down the hall. So, ahead of me, dead ahead of that road, is the old Rungy Park, which always kind of gave off spooky, feelings anyway. But it's a meeting place, which is kind of bad. Like if you've ever seen any of the old zombie movies, like they all go to the mall or the school or whatever. I expected horribleness down there. But I saw the cars sitting over at the thrift store there, and I figured I'd make what they call a Cajun credit card. Is what you go do is I found the hose that was out front, and I cut off about a 4-foot length, and that's what we called it, Cajun credit card, Cajun gas card, And we went and got that, and out of these cars, you could tell like everything had like a flood line on it, to where it didn't get too high over here. We're on the far side of the tracks where it's not necessarily very low, so it's hard to flood on this side. The water only got about halfway up the wheels, maybe to the body. Undercarriage of the little car, so it shouldn't be tainted in here. So I kind of looked around, made sure nobody was looking, and I popped that gas can. Luckily, it wasn't locked, and I stuck that gas can in there. And this is perfect, but the car's not close enough, so I had to go hunt around, try to find the bucket. I found this little old, putty bucket that was tied to a fence post out there. I don't know what the hell he was using it for. I don't know if it was like for butts, for cigarettes, or whatever. But pulled that little bucket off and come over and siphoned out the fuel, and then trying to pour it into that thing. I got more of the gas on the damn car than in the car. I got it on my boots, so I was gonna smell gasoline forever. So that was absolutely horrible. But I was able to get that 2 or 3 bucket loads, about 3 gallons of gasoline close to that car, and part of it, by the time I got in, it was almost a quart tank. I was like, close enough, man. It's not a very big tank on that car, We're just pouring it freehand. I was trying to use my hand as a funnel. It's just a mess. That's why my kit now always has a funnel on it, just in case I need it. A knife and a funnel in case you pour anything. If you got to put whiskey in the consolidating bottles, you got to pour gasoline into a car. So I got most of it in there. I had to close it down. I put that little bucket in the back seat just in case. I had a Cajun credit card too. Because, quarter tank fuel ain't gonna get you very far. And I started looking around. I said, man, I'm out here making a mess. I wasn't being quiet about it. I expected somebody to come poke my head out there. And I swear once at this park, I had a run-in with the ghost of a man. He was the only homeless man we had in our hometown. Apparently he could play the fiddle really well. He used to play for Bob Wills. But he was drunk. He'd come down here. This is where he lived. Just kind of, backyards and ditches and whatever, and drank or whatever. And then one night, me and my ex-girlfriend and this other guy and his date, we sat out there at this park. We were singing. He has a guitar. We're singing, doing our hillbilly thing. And I swear that guy walked right through. And then later, the constable Skip Gay come down there to come yell at us. Make sure we're not doing anything we shouldn't do. Realize it was us and say, oh, we're like, yeah, but we saw, what's his name? I think his name was Ralph. And he's like, nah, Ralph died last winter, man. And we're like, he walked right through here and went that way. He's like, well, we found him in that ditch. Okay, well, I was talking for another 10 minutes before I realized the tape ran out. So, I don't know who the hell that was at the park, but this is where the park we was heading to, was going for, and, man, I was not a fan. but talking about it to y'all made me want to go. Well, I'm gonna go down that side of town and go see if anything's over there. Just try to keep an eye on. You know, it's weird. Back from my dad's place, that's next door to where I'm at now. You know, on a clear day, you could hear a train from 2 miles up the road. Hear a loud horn or a truck horn or something from down that way. But you can hear a gunshot from forever out here. But it's few and far between. But it's enough to make you wake up and make the hairs on your neck stand up. So I got down there and got to where the park is. Well, the way the road runs, it runs right to the park, and you gotta go right or left to go around it. And the old Veterans Memorial flagpole thing right there that they started after World War I with little plaques on it is right there in the middle of it, and there was a car wrapped around it. It was either somebody running or whatever, but it was a car. It looked empty from where I was. I kept going with my one little blue light clicking. I can now hear it from the inside now that I paid attention. Like click, 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 as it went around. And I took the left-hand turn to go down by where the rodeo arenas are. I figured there'd be less people over there. But you could tell it looked like there had been gatherings there. Usually they clean it up pretty good, but there's cups and all kind of shit. So this might have been a gathering place before. And there's a couple of cars, but they were parked in the parking lot. It's a dirt parking lot, so it ain't got stripes or lines or nothing on it. So it was just kind of out there. So there's vehicles parked in random spots where you can tell where there was a line of cars around them, but those were left. They looked all but empty, and one looked turned sideways, kind of weird. And then I run up this next road. I don't even remember the name of the road. I was down there. And I took a right to go back around by the covered rodeo arena. And there was trailers parked out there. And it looked like its own little, camp had set up. It was a shanty town of horse trailers and trucks that were useless. And there was horses tied out there and all up. And I was slowing down looking, I was like, holy hell, alright, so these people are starting something. This guy, sure enough, tall, lanky son of a bitch in a plaid shirt and a cowboy hat, stepped out on the road out of that big ditch with the rifle in his hand. I'm talking like old, like D-ring rifleman rifle. Stepped out into the road and waved me down, put his hand up, and I stopped and stepped out. And he got a little, oh, hey, wait. There's a house I haven't seen in a while. It doesn't look like there's a car in it. We should check it. Let's go see if there's any food or critters that need out. I've been looking for animals and stuff out. I read a book once where that was something to do in apocalypse. But let's go check this out. Alright, so just between me and you, I've been debating whether I should leave these tapes running when I come out here and go through these houses and stuff. Mostly I was terrified of having to listen to my own voice as I died. But I figured if I got to record everything in here, might as well be, my own death. So let's get up here. It's got a little wooden porch. It all kind of seems wet. You can see where the water line come up, and it just barely got to the door. So it's all these elevated houses out here. Not a lot of things on slabs. And when I talk to you guys, then I definitely am less spooked out. Let's see, let's knock, make sure. Hello? Hello, anybody in there? Oh, hello? Okay. Kind of a creaky ass door. Alright, and creaky floor. Okay, so the whole damn thing is just creaky and weird. Alright, so the door wouldn't lock, so I'm pretty sure somebody's been through here before. I haven't heard nobody else, but looks like somebody slept on the couch a little bit. I don't see anything else here. You can definitely smell the mold. This is funky. Yeah, it's not like... Usually, if somebody's staying in these houses, they still use the toilets, so it's got that distinctive outhouse smell, because there's no way to flush it unless you're carrying in jugs of water or something. So, not catching that. So this is that moldy, abandoned house smell. Alright, so nothing here by the door. There's no go bag or anything to raid. Dining room table's got some dirty dishes on it, but they look long dirtied. Dust on everything. So don't hold out a lot. So let's check the kitchen. We'll get in here. And doesn't seem to be a whole lot. There's a couple of cans and stuff here. Okay. Not a lot of these. Most of this has been cleaned out. Can of beets. Gross. I mean, it's food. I'll take it. Ooh, score. Can of dog food. I'm gonna take that over to the dog. That dog will love that, man. That's that like old school gravy train looking thing. Wrapper falling off, so we can hope for it. But yeah, so that'll work. So yeah, not a lot here. Let's look around. Oh, there's a little bedroom here. It's got a quilt. Oh, it doesn't smell too musty. I am taking this. When it gets cold out in that barn, it gets cold. I can't keep it closed off. The big doors are screwed up. So yeah, score. This is totally worth taking. So yeah, we need to see if there's anything. It looks like there's a little thing of stairs to go upstairs. Alright, wait, you hear that? Wait, that's coming from upstairs. I don't think I want to go upstairs. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. I don't want to be here no more. No. It's all this spooky shit I hate. Oh, nope, gotta go. See, it's just like that. Like I was talking about being down there by that damn park and get that spookiness, and then you come across stuff like this. And I don't have anybody to talk to, so just talking to you guys. So, yeah. So, man, I don't even know if I want this quilt anymore. That's like creepy. All right. All right. So, yeah. Where was it? Oh, so down by Rungy Park, and this tall, skinny cowhand guy, he had to be in his 20s, steps out there. I stop. You know, he's got his rifle not pointed at me, but where it wouldn't take 2 or 3 inches to get a bead on me. And he questioned me. He said, "Hey, where you going?" I said, "I'm headed out to check on my dad." "Oh yeah, so your dad live here?" I said, "Yeah, I grew up down here too, whatever." And he was kind of cautious or whatever, but he hadn't cordoned off the area. He was just checking on people down here because he lived down the road. You know, his dad was living down there, but he got killed the day before, or the day before that. I don't know. He was talking to everybody stuff. He said it was after the hurricane, but somebody busted his house, so he's trying to keep track of everybody coming out there, seeing if they're coming back after that stuff. I said he was stuck there, but he was walking distance to his house, but he was trying to keep an eye on everything. I said, "No, I'm just headed down here," and I gave him where the address was. And yeah, I assured him of my best intentions. He said I was in the cop car, but I wasn't a cop, and I wasn't in a uniform, so he didn't believe me on that, but he did believe that I was going out there to check on my dad. So he let me go on my way. And I got back in that car and I pulled off, and that one little rinky-dink light flashing. I could see there's 3 or 4 guys in a trailer down there, and they had barrels pointed at me. So he didn't have to point a gun at me. They had beats on me the entire time. You know, and I was like, well, at least they weren't, checking what kind of American was there or whatever. So I went down the road, and there was about 2 houses down on the left, and there seemed to be a whole gathering out there. Like the apocalypse doesn't stop these hillbilly types from having their week and doing their morning, man. So I get it. They still a little group in black, 4 or 5 of them out there in the yard talking. You can almost smell the potato salad coming off of it, the apocalypse hadn't stopped that, So I got to turn around and I got back on the road, man. I just took my little bandana off and tipped it at them and just kept going. And there's a couple of turns down the road where my best friend Andy's at, and I was hoping he's going to be there. And right down the road from them was his dad, so that's the next stops. See how I get out there. I was passing all these houses that I had known most of my life, that have always been there. But you never really paid much attention to them. It's just, house. That house right there is always on the corner. That's Christy's house, a big old tall house. And there's that spooky one that my uncle had over there. And then there's this little log cabin. And they're just not there, or just run down. Okay, it's been a couple of days. This is the lightest the rain has been. And since the 3 hurricanes last year, I get nervous anytime it's raining for a couple of days and pretty windy. So, yeah, man, I'm back at the barn out here, the sticks. I was rain is hitting the tin roof, but this is as light as I can get. I hope the recording is coming through. I tried it the other day, and it was just so screaming loud. Like, I tried to play it, and I said, oh, no, that's just horrible. So, yeah, it was about a year ago, man, and it's in my hometown. I left the park, and there's, pastures down there, and on either side of the road, and houses and stuff, and I was looking for the animals. Didn't see a lot, but you can see where all the detritus and junk had washed up along the road. It's kind of elevated down here till it goes back to what they call Altaloma. So you can see the things here and there for there's animals. But if there was horses, I was looking to see if there was a gate I could open, just let them loose, so they're not just stuck in the same spot. But it's Texas, you got to be careful of that shit. Like a couple of people, you can see them out on the porch trying to clean up whatever, but they keep an eye on you. There's always at least one person with a weapon, because we're out here in the sticks, So, I keep going, and it's about a mile down, and then the intersection right on the corner. This is my buddy's house. This is, one of the oldest friends I've ever known. And I knew him when I went for a public school from a private school. He lived up the road. He lived what we call one block apart, and it was like half a mile worth of pastures or whatever. But he was the closest friend I had, and. So that was his parents' place here, and he had a house next door. And he had a trailer that he was staying in, and then he was building a house. So I said, shit, I wonder if Andy's there. Now you gotta be careful. Andy's old military, man, so he's got every kind of weapon in the world. His son, my godson, he's military. He just got back, so who knows what's going on. But Andy's brother and both his nephews are all military. So you gotta be careful approaching this guy's house, right? So I'm out there and I'm yelling, hey. I didn't know if he'd finished his house or not, so I walked up and banged on the trailer door, nothing. Tried to rattle the door, nothing. It was all locked, So I ain't gonna break into his place. So I went over to the door, the house, and he'd put the doors and everything on it, like half the siding was there, but who knows if he got it all, if the hurricane pulled it off, So I banged, yelled, hey. I'm risking yelling, whatever. Walked over to the garage, where my goddaughter was staying occasionally. Banged on there, nothing. Got to his parents' place, nothing. But there weren't any signs of struggle or shootout or nothing. So I don't know if they evacuated or the whole military group of them went down and was fighting guerrilla style, dealing with these guys, knowing them. That's probably where they went. I'm sure Andy would have called me before he went down there. But there's nobody there. I wanted to leave a note, but I made notes in myself. Mental note, like, hey, get some paper and pen so we can leave notes when we do shit like that. And I just hope my friend the best. I said a silent prayer to whatever gods he believed in, and took off down the road. So, like, this is the old neighborhood, man. And there's a couple houses look like flattened. There's a lot of big pastures out here. I keep saying that, but this is where the tornadoes come and get everything, There's a place over here, it used to be a trailer. It ain't no trailer no more. It's like a frame and just bits and pieces of siding, wood bits, and paneling everywhere. And a little further down, a couple of them. So I was like, oh shit, looks like a tornado come through here and kind of messed up a lot of this stuff. But there isn't a lot of people cleaning up. Like the whole block, this block seems crazy. This is Avenue N, So oh shit. So I didn't double time, but I walked a little quicker and heads up, a little closer down here where this trailer is. There's sure enough meth heads out there. And one of them comes running out of the trees from the other side, on the right-hand side. I kind of got a shotgun. He had a roll of wire. Apparently he was out here stripping wire and stacking it up in his little fucking trailer. Oh my god. This rain tries to put me to sleep, tell you that. When I seen that meth head, kind of made me jump. He threw that wire down, kind of gave me a dirty look, hunched the shoulders over a little bit, and then took off back out into the woods. Like he found a place to go strip all this wire from, I guess. So I got down there around the corner and seen Dad's house in the distance. And I didn't see much of nothing right here at the road, but it's got a long drive, like 300 yards worth of drive to get out to this house. And I turned a little bit, go to walk down the drive, and about 20 feet down, I see at least two bodies. I'm like, oh shit. So I hurry over there, and there were guys in uniforms. There's that stupid fucking, military guys, whatever, and they had cameo on their stuff that I didn't recognize, didn't look American, right? And It was a weird flag, red, yellow, and blue, something or other. I guess this is coalition patch, whatever. So I just tried to snatch one off real quick, and ended up having to get a little pocket knife and saw at the threads. Got it, put it in my pocket. But these guys had holes put in them, and there's some brass laying around them. All right, enough of this. I'll up, and right at the end of the drive, it kind of kinks to the right and then back to the left of the side of the house. And as I run to that corner, there's another body sitting right there in the uniform. I'm like, oh, shit. So I start yelling. Dad's eyes ain't great, So I'm like, hey, it's me. Anybody there? Hello, And didn't hear nothing. Hear chickens in the back, and I can, hear a dog barking in the house. So they wouldn't have left without the dogs, I don't think, not intentionally. So I ran around the back. They had a bunch of cars. A lot of them run, a lot of them didn't run. Take that as you will. So I ran to that corner, and there was a spot that was open that wasn't a vehicle. So I go around, and in the country, they don't ever go to the front door. The front door lets you know that you're a stranger. You go around the back door, and that's where everybody's at. And Dad never locked the back door anyway. So I get over there, door's closed, I knock, stick my head in, hello, nothing, get in. And it looks like there's a sign of a struggle right here by the door. There's a little bit of blood on the floor. Not like anybody bled out here, but somebody definitely hurt when they got to this door. So I checked the house, I checked upstairs, I checked the back, I checked Dad's gun safes. They were all locked over. And so what the shit? So I go in the kitchen, there's a couple of bottled water sitting on the little island thing, grab those, drink some water. Holler, don't see a note, don't see a sign of nobody else. It's a barn. We always retreat to the barn, man. So got outside, went and hustled over to the barn, had old wagons in the hallway of the barn, So I'm yelling out there. I don't hear nobody, I don't see nobody. So where in the hell did they go? But this pasture's backed up next to the rental pasture, the house that we used to live in. 17,000 acres, runs all the way back to Canal. So I said, shit, I thought, Dad was out here, he'd run off out there to go, he'd come from the hills and the mountains in Arkansas, like he'd go out here and live in this swamp for a while, So I was like, I'll stay here at the house. And I went inside the house, decided to try to wait it out. Found a couple of, canned chilies that you eat cold, but it was food. It ate. So I went ahead and did that, and went into the room I had stayed in for a while. Dad was still in there. You can tell the water got in somewhere from the hurricane. And right when I opened that door, lightning, boom! I was like, oh shit! The thunder went off. I was like, oh, it's a haunted house movie. And so I went ahead and I curled up in there, man. And right when I was curling up, rain started drizzling again. Rain coming down, I curled up in his house, and not knowing where any of my family was. Half my friends was missing. It's one of those things, like I said, I keep coming back to it, but the world has changed. It takes a while for that to set in. And it's kind of like false fall down here in the South, You're like, oh, shit, okay, we're kind of dealing with it. Then you get around something that normalizes that you're used to. Family, home, hometown, your buddy's house. And you're like, this is a little bit of normalcy, and then it is just not normal. So I heard this rain coming in. Little did I know that this was the second hurricane coming through. And we were on the wet side of it, Jack. So rain started, and it didn't stop for another 2 days. But I stayed in there that first night, and I slept, listened to the rain. It's better than a fan, it was a sleep too. And I woke up, nobody was there, it was still raining, but there was water starting to creep up in the yard. So I had to worry about it, and I said, well, if the military's out looking for these guys on patrol, they're going to notice them out here and come out here and look for me. So the floodwater comes in any higher. Screw it, I'm staying here. I don't want to be slogging down the road in this badass storm, and this water's rising. So I went up and set up in the top floor. At the very least, I was hoping that the water would rise up enough to flush them bodies away. Just gotta take those somewhere else where it wouldn't get marked over here as somebody horrible, somebody come hunt me.